I'm Kimball for ANI 150, and today we are going to be modeling an axe. Now, to begin with, we need some sort of reference, whether it's a hand-drawn axe that we came up with or maybe a reference found on the internet. It's a good idea to have some sort of vision for what you're going for. In my case, I went onto the internet and I found this stock image of an axe. Now, you don't have to be too picky as far as resolution. I recommend just choosing something that you can see clearly. If I press Z for zoom and I say 100% to see the full 100% resolution, it's a pretty dinky image. However, it's got enough information in it that I can see what's happening. I don't need anything of a higher resolution. This isn't going to be used for rendering. It's just going to be used for the sake of modeling. So this works. This is great. Fine. The next thing I want to do is make sure that it's angled correctly. And what I mean by that is Maya is laid out in kind of a perpendicular three-angled setup in Maya. You got up and down, y-axes, x and z-axes. Everything moving either vertical or horizontal by default. Nice grid system. And if you look up an axe on Google Images, you'll find that there are an awful lot of axes that are angled this way. Like they're just kind of rotated 35 degrees. It's really annoying. That's not ideal for working in a setup that favors up and down, side to side. So if you have an image like this, go into Photoshop or another image editing software, press Control T if you're in Photoshop so you can do free transformation, and just rotate it. If you need more canvas space, tap C on your keyboard and you can expand the canvas to fit whatever it is that you're working on. Alternatively, you could adjust this inside of Maya, but I recommend saving yourself some trouble and just setting it up so it's ready to go right on import. Okay, so I like my axe, it's working for me. I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm just going to save it to my desktop as a JPEG. It doesn't matter if it has a compression to it. It doesn't matter that it's not a PNG or a target. We're not using it for anything except for reference. So I'm going to type in axe.jpg and press save. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up Maya. And whenever we open up Maya, we want to make sure that we set our project, or in this case, create a new project directory. So we're going to go File, and we're going to go to the project window. Again, if you already had a project, you'd go to Set Project and you'd find that folder, so Maya knows where to find all the resources it needs. But this is new, so Project Window. We're going to go ahead and say New, and we're going to name this Axe. We're going to set it to the desktop. If you're on your home computer, just put it somewhere where you can find it. For expediency, I'm just going to stick it to the desktop and press Accept. Now, when I minimize Maya, you will see on my desktop I have an axe folder and I have my axe image. The axe folder has got a default directory with all sorts of folders that Maya can save and pull information from. This axe will need to go into the source images folder. The source images folder are images that are sourced by Maya that it can pull from. Maybe it's a reference image like our axe, maybe it's a texture map like an AO map or a diffuse map. Whatever it is that you want to bring into Maya needs to be in the source images folder. Anything kicked out of Maya is going to be in the images folder. And every time we save our scene in Maya, it will go in the scenes folder. Okay, easy peasy. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to Maya, and we're going to bring the axe image into Maya. So to bring an image into Maya, we mentioned that we went over this in class before, but it bears repeating. You're going to want to use what are called image planes. And an image plane is a polygonal plane attached to a camera that immediately has your image on it. I mean, I assume it's a polygonal plane. It's an asset. It's a flat asset with your image attached to it, and it'll be attached to whatever camera you apply it to. Now, I've seen a lot of students apply their image plane to the perspective camera. That is a bad idea. If I were to start modeling something on my grid over here, every time I move my camera, the image plane, my reference image, would move with it, not making for a very good reference, not being able to just keep it in one place. So I'm going to press spacebar. Oops, sorry, something that happens on the Mac is when I press spacebar and I'm in full screen, the hotbox becomes full screen. It's very annoying. So let me fix that. All right, So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tap my spacebar. And when I tap spacebar, it opens up these 4 panels. Now, if this doesn't show up for you, just go over here to the side of your screen and click on the second button down, that's panel layout. This over here is my outliner. I can hide that by clicking on this little button right here. And by the way, I apologize if you hear some noise in the background. My dog is going to town on a bone, and you might hear it. Also, I have a cold. Makes things even more fun. So I'm going to click on my side view. So this is an orthographic view. This is a view that is just going to show me one side of my model. And you'll notice that I can move my camera any which way I want, but I can't rotate my camera. I can zoom and I can, I guess, truck or pan or whatever you want to call this, the camera, but I cannot rotate it because the channels are locked. So I'm going to use this side view, and I'm going to go to View, Image Plane, Import Image. And then immediately it's opening up the source images folder for my axe. So I'm going to click on my axe and I'm going to press open. All right, and there's my axe. There's my axe in my scene. So I can use this as something to build my 3D model off of. Now I can click on this axe and I can scale it upward if I want, or I can shrink it. I could also rotate this if I wanted to. So if you didn't adjust this image in Photoshop, you could certainly do it now. I'm going to press spacebar and go back to my perspective view. I'm going to click on the image, grab my translate tool, my move tool, and I'm going to just push this backward. What's really cool, let me just show you by pressing spacebar again. If I move this side to side, you will see it move side to side in the side camera. However, when I move this backward, oops, sorry, didn't mean to open attributes that way. If I push this backward, notice that it doesn't change the scale in my side view. So you don't have to worry. You can push this back so far that you can't see it, and you'll always be able to see it reasonably well in the side view camera. So I really like that feature. I don't need to push it that far out of the way. I'm just gonna push it a little ways away. The other thing that I want to do before I get started is I want to grab this image plane and I want to put it in a display layer. So I grab the image plane and then I'm going to go over here to my channel box. If you don't see the channel box, you can tap Control A, and that'll usually toggle you between the channel box and the attribute editor. I'm going to change my workspace back to Maya Classic because in animation mode that channel box or the attribute editor is detached. So make sure you're in Maya Classic. I'm going to press Control A now, and you can see for yourself that it will toggle between attribute editor and the channel box. Except when it doesn't feel like doing that. There we go. Had a sticky key. All right, so I'm going to grab this image, and with the channel box revealed, I'm going to go over here and click this button on the far right. It looks like a little circle with a piece of paper underneath it. That is going to create a display layer, and whatever I have selected in my main camera here is going to be stored on that layer. So if I go over here and click this V for visibility, I can turn this on or off. So I'm going to go ahead and name this layer Image Plane and save it. And then the reason I want it to be in this display layer is so that I'm not accidentally clicking this all the time. So while I'm modeling, maybe I grab some vertices or I select a bunch of edges and I end up grabbing this image plane. So what I can do is go over here to the image plane layer, and this third box over here, if I click it once, I see that my image plane is pretty much vanished. It'd be a wireframe view if it was a mesh. If I click it again, I can see the axe, but I can't select it. So it's like I can see the render view of the object, but I cannot mess with it. So it's really helpful. All right, so I'm all set up to start modeling, and we will carry on in the next tutorial.